When you've been to the grocery store, filled up your tank, or gotten an oil delivery lately, you know the cost of just about everything is going up right now.
Yeah, we sat down with Jon Paradise, Senior VP at Town & Country Federal Credit Union, to talk all things inflation because, well, it's something we're hearing a lot about lately. Our first question, what exactly is inflation?
Well, you know, inflation, oftentimes it's the I word that people dread. Not all inflation is bad. You know, I think inflation is basically how much something costs at one point in time and then how much it costs at another point in time. And you talk about the consumer price index, and that's how economists figure out what the rate of inflation is. You know, what does a shirt cost, that same shirt cost 6 months later? You know, if it's a mild, consistent inflation, that's okay. That's not a bad thing, but that's how you measure inflation.
So there are obviously going to be pros and cons to this. What are they?
Well, when it comes to inflation, if it's mild and consistent, that's a good thing. You know, everything goes up, but it's the rate that it goes up that I think really dictates and determines how, you know, how people's finances are impacted. If it's mild and consistent, then you're talking about people are buying, people are spending, they're using that spending power. Companies can increase production, they can add employees. So I think that's a, you know, that's a good thing. It also is indicative of the fact that if you're having inflation, whatever that is, hopefully more on the mild side, you're not having deflation. And deflation is not something we ever want to be in as an economic discussion.
Yeah, so there are some pros. What are the cons?
Well, you know, the cons are the impact that it has on people's spending power. And the reality is, if you are making the same salary, but things are going up, guess what? You have less money to spend. So I think people are impacted exponentially when inflation is at what it is right now. And that's why people are so concerned about it. You know, I think inflation, the real con also comes down to the emotional impact it has on people. If the rate of inflation is what it is right now, people are going to spend less, and it's going to impact, you know, how much people are spending, obviously. It's going to impact, that impacts what employment can do, because businesses have to cut back.
Right.
They're going to have to raise prices. They're going to get less business. It's just that you know, that whole impact and effect that I think is not a good thing for people.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
All connected.
Absolutely.
What is stagflation?
Stagflation is kind of what it sounds like. It's when you have high unemployment, high inflation, stagnant wages, and again, you get into a risk of deflation. And when things are stagnant, obviously when you have stagnant growth and stagnant salaries, but prices are going up, that's not a good thing. That does not move the economy forward.
So what causes inflation?
Well, it has a multiple, you know, has various causes. One is demand push. The other is cost pull. Demand push is when you have something that's in high demand, but there's not a lot of supply. You know, it comes down to supply and demand. Yeah. Hand sanitizers, a great example of that. Over the last couple of years, originally when the pandemic started, hand sanitizers were in huge demand. There wasn't enough to go around, so prices went up. That's, you know, that's what happens when demand outpaces supply. Then you've got the cost pull, when prices can go up, but demand stays the same. And an example of that is oil and gas. It's impacted by events that don't necessarily have anything to do with demand going up. It's, you know, if something happens in the Middle East or a natural disaster, that will cause oil and gas to go up because there's not enough of it, but demand hasn't changed, but prices go up. So it's interesting how everything is interrelated when it comes to the economy, and sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's not such a good thing. And you know, I think that's why people are concerned, especially right now, because salaries right now are not keeping up with the rate of inflation. That doesn't mean it's going to be that this is a moment in time. Yeah. I think people need to remember that, but it's concerning. If you're making $50,000, that's your salary. you have to make $55,000 right now, that your salary has to go up. Probably not, you know, that's not what the rate of salary increases are going to be right now. So I think that's what has people concerned, and rightfully so.
To learn more or hear these tips again, just head to the 207 section of our website and our mobile app.